Thanks very much, Patrick, for that very kind introduction. And thank you for your service to our country and everything you've done for this organization. Ladies and gentlemen, it is really a pleasure and a privilege to be here today to advocate for the free Iranian community and support for the People's Mujahideen Organization of Iran. Now, there is a bestseller out there that's written by a New Yorker whose name is Simon Sinek. And the name of his book is Start with Why. So let me start today by following his advice. Why support the free Iranian cause? I suggest two reasons, and you've heard these expounded upon here today. The first is that it is the right thing to do from a human rights perspective. The second is that it's the right thing to do from a U.S. national security perspective. Now let's explore the rationale behind these perspectives in a bit more detail and why it's so important to support this cause and what's the most effective action that can be taken to do that. My point is that the United States will go to great lengths and expend significant effort to support humanitarian efforts. There are many, many other examples, and the United States has a long record of protecting those who are suppressed and being persecuted. Now, you've heard it many, many times today, and you all are very well familiar with the situation surrounding the fate of the 3,400 unarmed members of your exiled Iranian brothers and sisters and sons and daughters who are living in Camp Ashraf. Several U.S. government agencies conducted thorough investigations of the residents of Ashraf and then recognized them as protected persons under the Fourth Geneva Convention. From 2003 to early 2009, U.S. forces protected the camp from attacks by the Iranian regime. After that, however, Iraqi forces have launched attacks several times on the camp's defenseless residents. Tehran's reaction to these attacks has been to praise the Iraqi army for its attacks, and they've asked Baghdad to continue attacking the citizens of Ashraf until their destruction. Since these attacks, the most occurring less than a year ago, the situation has become more complicated. Tehran, in a plan working with Baghdad, has called for the closure of the camp. This last December, the United Nations, with strong support by the United States, got involved, and the head of the United Nations Assistance Mission for Iraq initiated a series of negotiations with the Iraqi government, and a memorandum of understanding was drafted to relocate the residents of the camp to another location. The MOU that was signed this past December by the UN and the government of Iraq explicitly says that Iraq will ensure, quote, the transit locations meet humanitarian and human rights standards, unquote. Reaction from the United States on this entire chain of events was to condemn the attacks against Camp Ashraf and support the UN in its efforts to relocate the camp inhabitants. But more can and must be accomplished if the United States is to live up to our principles of vigorously supporting human rights. Given that U.S. forces are no longer in Iraq, the most effective tool we have in protecting the people of Camp Ashraf, protection we assured those people in 2004, is to remove the MEK from the list of foreign terrorist organizations. The United Kingdom, and as you've heard, the European Union have removed the MEK from their lists. We should do the same, as retention on this list gives the Iranian and Iraqi regimes a rationale to persecute the Iranian opposition and potentially conduct another massacre. Meanwhile, the Iranian regime is continuing to create propaganda that attempts to demonize the citizens of Ashraf. Within the past couple of days, you've heard about the press report where the Iranian spokesman, backed by these two anonymous sources from the State Department, told NBC the Mossad had been flying MEK members to Israel for training and sending them on to Iran to carry out assassinations. This set of truths is no accident. Just as the support is growing to remove the MEK from the list of foreign terrorist organizations, this fabrication was injected into the media in an attempt to prevent delisting. The Iranian opposition has survived a level of repression that is simply unparalleled in modern times. From a human rights perspective, it's long overdue to reverse that oppression. Furthermore, the removal of the MEK from the foreign terrorist organizations list would send a signal to the people of Iran that the United States is